And look who's here, ladies and gentlemen. Rebel has made his way into the studio. Good to see you, my friend.
Thank you.
Now, what are we chatting about here today from All American Exteriors?
Well, I tell you what, I've brought back a sale that we did last year that went really, really well. People was really responsive and they loved it. And everybody loves the cultured stone on the homes today. But the problem is it's really expensive. And so what we've done is we've got, if you buy our insulated Cedar Max polymer siding, then we're throwing up to 50 square feet of cultured stone for free.
Now, what is that going to be able to give you the chance to do? What are you going to be able to do with 50 square feet?
Well, 50 square feet can be the porch area beside the door. It can be each side of the garage. You know, you could add an extra 50 and go all the way across the front. But typically, people just go
kind
up.
of like the faux stone, like we have the faux stone back here. But this is individual.
Can you kind of show us the cultured stone? Kind of hold it up there a little bit and tell us exactly what does that mean, cultured stone?
Cultured stone. Well, it's, if you look at the back side, you can see it's actually a cement material.
Okay.
But it's actually been made to emulate stone. It's cast from real stone. And the reason we're able to do this promotion is because Heartland is a Provia company. Provia is an Amish company. They bought, down in Missouri, they bought the company that manufactures this stone. Okay. And so in order to stimulate the sale of the stone, they're going to allow me to do that.
So Amish people make polymer siding?
They do make polymer siding. You know what? There's only two manufacturers of polymer siding in the United States, and the Amish were the second to get in the business.
No
but they're
way.
The biggest.
Huh.
Really?
They are the biggest. Yeah.
Takes a long time to get it by buggy, but otherwise.
That's right. That's right.
It's high
we got to
quality when you
order
do it.
extra because it takes a long time for them to bring that stuff in.
Now,
So-
this is the time of year people are thinking about the siding, especially like this stuff here, because you have the insulation, so you're going to really seal your house up, aren't you?
Well, what we do is, first thing we do is we remove the old siding, and then we do such a good job of sealing the house with a moisture barrier. We overlap and tape all the seams, put a foundation cap in, a rodent barrier, so you don't have to worry about mice or ground squirrels getting in at the bottom, in behind the bushes.
Yeah, making a little house out of your siding. Yeah.
Right. We don't want that. You don't have to worry about bugs. People ask me that all the time. You don't have to worry about bugs because this polystyrene is actually made with a natural mineral which wears the mandibles off of bugs. So if they try to chew into it, they die. They literally, it kills them.
No way.
Yeah, it's got boron or borax in it, which is a natural, and it's not a chemical. Your kids can eat it. I mean, it's not something you have to worry about, but yet it stops bugs from eating that out, so your insulation stays there.
Now, a normal house, they'll come in, they've got the sheeting, the wood on the side, then they Tyvek it, and then they put the siding over that. Am I correct about that?
It is, but
this has
they
an
did
extra.
not make it code that you had to put the moisture barrier up until the 90s.
Okay.
And so the Des Moines market has literally hundreds of thousands of homes that were built without any kind of wrap at all. So when you see damage on your siding, there's a lot of times damage in the wall as well.
So
because
what does that do? Yeah, so if they don't have it done correctly.
It allows that moisture to get into the wall cavity, and so it starts rotting the sheeting out that's behind the siding. And so you think you've got a little bit of damage on the siding itself, but it actually damages the sheeting as well. And so older houses and then 90s forward are usually pretty good.
And then this has the additional, obviously, insulation behind it that may not be there on.
Yeah, we can get you up to an R5 insulating value, but where we really save you is by tearing that off and repairing any of the water damage or dry rot that's there.
Okay.
And then we seal that up, so we allow that cavity of insulation that's already there, which is an R11 to an R13, allows that to actually work, because what that's creating is dead air, and dead air is great insulator. But if air can move through it, it's not. And you know, the same insulation in your wall is just like your furnace filter. You know, air can move through it. The idea is to capture that air and that insulation to hold that as dead air space. And so
you don't necessarily have to fill it with any material. You want the dead air there.
Well, the insulation is there to help add insulation value, but if air
just increases it.
if you've got airflow, then you lose that R value. So you've got R11 or R13, but if you've got a hole in the siding that can be from construction. I mean, we did a house that the people built the house new. They'd lived there for like 13 years. Hail damaged the siding on two sides. We'd done their roof, and so they asked me to come out and give them a bid on the siding. They hired us to do the siding. They come and see me at the state fair this year, and she hugged me. She was like, you know, we have fought mice for 13 years. We never had one mouse last year. So I called my guy up after that. I called my supervisor that was on the job. I called him. I said, hey, what did you guys find in behind there? Because my guys are trained. They didn't say, hey, Rebel, should we? They just took care of business. So I called him. I said, what did you find? He said, well, there was an area where they had missed, the plywood was cut wrong, and they just went ahead and put it on and put the siding up over it.
No way.
So the mice could get in and out of that house. It was just a highway for them.
It was a passageway.
Wow.
Right, and see, so it could be new construction, it could be, you know, water damage. I mean, there's a lot of things that could cause it. But if you've got air coming through, then you're going to have a loss of that R value, and you're going to have energy. You know, you're going to lose energy savings.
You brought up hail. How does that polymer siding do against? Obviously, you're not going to get softballs and baseballs.
Well, you know what? Actually, I've had 2.5-inch hail in 3 different places in Iowa in the last year, where it's taken the siding off of neighbors' houses, where we've went out and we've actually got to side their houses. The houses that I've done, the most pieces we've replaced is 5.
Wow, so it's pretty tough.
5 pieces. I mean, it just stands up to hail like no other. It doesn't have a hail warranty,
right?
But if the hail hits right on this edge, it can't give. And so that just it's like in a crash. They say sometimes if you're drunk on a crash, not that I recommend that to anybody.
No.
But you know, they say they're not damaged as bad because they're loose. They just kind of collapse around the dash. But somebody that grabs that steering wheel and holds on, their arms end up breaking.
Right.
Well, it's the same thing. There's no give here, that force. So if it hits right there, it's going to break the siding.
Right.
And so we usually go out and we replace anywhere from 1 to 5 pieces, and I don't charge the homeowner. Anything below your deductible, we take care of, labor and material.
Okay.
Now, as we're getting into the time of year and with a great deal going on, what are things we should be looking for walking around our house? I know we don't have the eyes you do that you're looking at this for specific things every single day, but what are we going to see that we're like, uh-oh, warning, we might need to be getting new siding?
As always, every year you should take and spend 3 or 4 days walking around your house and repairing anything that needs repaired before you go into winter. Winter is the worst time for moisture to get in your house. I know we've had a really wet year this year, and rain gets in because of cracks in the caulk around the windows or what have you. But in the wintertime, snow sets, the snow gets driven and packed in those areas, and then the sun melts it, and so all of that slowly gets into that wall. And so if your windows have cracks in the caulking, if you have, you know what, even if it looks bad, fill a hole. If you got a spot where a woodpecker's been eating on your cedar or what have you, fill it with blow foam, put some caulk in it and smear it over and paint over it, whatever. Stop the water from getting in. It'll save you money when you do have it fixed, if you do that, rather than just let it go.
Okay.
Be proactive.
Definitely proactive. Great stuff in a can.
Okay.
You know,
that's what it's called, yeah.
Yeah, great stuff. Shake it up, spray it in there, and let it dry. Cut it off and paint it. And it won't be obvious from the street unless you're really looking for it. But definitely want to fix those holes.
Seal everything up if you can.
Yeah.
All right, you want to get this deal here going on. What do they need to do?
You can call me at 515-255-4872, or you can go to rebel@allamericanforyou.com and give us a holler. Yeah. We'll be happy to come out and give you a quote.
Get the siding, get the bonus stone.
Yep.
Perfect. Good job, my friend.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Rebel.